He answered his country's call.
He deployed to the Middle East to do a full tour.
She was the woman he left behind.
You can only imagine the longing.
And despite the challenges, they made it work.
They were together for 13 years.
They had 4 beautiful daughters.
They had a bright future ahead of them.
Until, after surviving Afghanistan, he died at his own front door.
She hears a knock at the door.
The next thing she hears are gunshots.
It looked like it was personal. It was an execution.
Was it also a betrayal?
They find hundreds of text messages.
They found nude pictures.
This was more than just a fling.
But does it add up to murder?
It ain't against the law to cheat.
Or is the obvious suspect not always the right one?
They are gloating about their crime.
They consider themselves Bonnie and Clyde.
Talk about a plot twist.
This man lost his life because of that?
April 7th, 2021. It's late Wednesday night in Newport News, Virginia, a hard-working port city just across the James River from Norfolk, home to the U.S. Navy's Atlantic Fleet.
Newport News is pretty much a military town because you got one of the biggest naval bases on the East Coast right here. You also got a couple surrounding Army bases as well.
You have a lot of active and retired military in and around Newport News.
And at 2 o'clock that April morning, the wife of one former serviceman makes a frantic call to 911.
911, what is your emergency?
Something's happened to my husband.
Okay, calm down. What is your name?
The caller is 36-year-old Danielle Shabazz.
Danielle told the operator that she and her children were away from the house that night.
But she'd called her husband, 39-year-old Sal Shabazz, to say goodnight.
Hey, baby, how's it going?
Hey.
Danielle and her husband were on the phone talking, and all of a sudden, she hears a knock at the door.
Hold on, somebody's at the door.
Who?
He went to see who it was.
So, can I help you?
She hears her husband talking to whoever is at the door.
What are you talking about, man?
The next thing she hears are a series of bangs.
I don't even worry about it.
Sal.
I don't know. I think it was gunshots.
Then the phone goes silent.
He won't answer me.
Your mind would just run the gamut of possibilities. Your mind just starts spinning.
She was completely terrified that something had happened to him.
Please send somebody to the house.
Sal Shabazz grew up in South Bend, Indiana, as one of 12 siblings.
His mother had 6 children, and then she adopted 6 more.
I couldn't do it without God. He called me to be the mother of these children, and he equipped me to do so, to parent them.
The fact that half his siblings were adopted wasn't all that set Sal's family apart.
He grew up with his mom being Christian, his father being of the Islam faith.
His full name is Saladin Ibn Shabazz. Saladin is an Arab name.
He was named from a historical sultan from Egypt and Syria who fought the Crusaders in the Holy Land.
From an early age, Sal lived up to his heroic name.
He was a star athlete when he was in high school.
He played varsity football from the day he walked into high school all the way through. He's broke all kind of records that have yet today to be broken.
He was very popular.
Sal Shabazz is that all-American kind of dude.
After finishing high school, Sal continued his success in college.
Sal played football for Grand Valley State and then transferred to Minnesota State.
However, he didn't graduate. Instead, his life careened in a different direction.
While he was in college, Sal's on-again, off-again, long-term girlfriend, Danielle Holland, got pregnant.
Sal and Danielle had known one another since they were kids.
With the impending birth of their daughter, Sal and Danielle decided to make their relationship official.
They got married in 2007. They got married at the courthouse on New Year's Eve. It was like a quick wedding.
And Sal chose a different path for his life to support his family.
Sal enlisted in the Army. He came to me one day and said, "Mom, I want a way to provide for my family, so I'm going to go to the service."
Although it wasn't without risks.
Sal was immediately deployed to the Middle East to do a full tour in Afghanistan.
And the disruptions didn't end once Sal came home from overseas.
Once Sal returned from his deployment, he was stationed in Newport News, Virginia. So Danielle packed up with her husband and they moved 800 miles away from Indiana to the Chesapeake Bay.
Together, they built a new life in Virginia.
Sal and Danielle had 4 daughters.
Danielle was working at the post office as a mail carrier, and once Sal got discharged from the military, he got a job as a forklift operator.
A decade after Sal first shipped off to Afghanistan, he and Danielle had beaten the odds.
A lot of military couples don't last after the spouse is away for such a long time.
Sal and Danielle were the exception.
It was almost like they were meant for each other.
He's a good husband. Awesome dad. He always was a provider.
They had a bright future ahead of them.
Only now, Danielle fears something terrible has happened to her husband.
Sal's wife has called Newport News police after hearing what she believes to be gunshots.
They had been talking on the phone when she heard the bangs.
He won't answer me.
And at that point, 911 dispatches the police to the house to investigate.
When officers arrive, they see nothing alarming at first.
The front door is closed. There's no sign of a gunman.
There are no signs of forced entry.
Sheriff's office.
Not taking any chances, the police carefully make entry into the Shabazz home.
Inside, they find a horrific scene.
The first thing they see is Sal Shabazz lying on the floor.
He's laying in a pool of blood.
He had been shot 4 times.
Hard-working forklift driver and Army veteran Sal Shabazz was as all-American as they come.
Sal was a very nice guy, a cool person, easy to get along with.
He had integrity, he was kind, he was honest.
And he was raising 4 children with the love of his life, his wife, Danielle.
She was someone that he felt that he could build something with, build a life with, build a family with.
But now, police are at Sal and Danielle's home in response to a desperate 911 call.
Danielle, she's on the phone with her husband, and he hears a knock at the door, and the next thing she hears are these bangs.
Sal! Sal!
She knows in her gut something's wrong.
When police enter the home, they discover that Danielle was right to fear the worst.
Sal's lying on the floor in a pool of blood. He was bleeding from multiple gunshot wounds.
He was pronounced dead at the scene.
When homicide detectives arrive, they start their investigation by examining Sal's body.
He's been shot 2 times in the torso, twice in the head, execution style.
Near the body, homicide detectives find 4 shell casings lying on the floor.
They then took those casings and sent them off to ballistics to be tested.
Ballistics could eventually lead detectives to the murder weapon, but there's little at the scene to suggest the killer's motive.
A thorough search of the home shows that there was nothing disturbed, which ruled out the potential for robbery.
This was deliberate, This was intentional.
The question was, why target Sal?
Looking for answers, the detectives canvassed the neighborhood.
Officers talked to neighbors and asked them if they had any information.
None of the neighbors reported seeing anything suspicious.
Everybody was asleep at the time of the crime.
But the canvas could still provide some crucial information.
How you doing?
Hey. The neighbor across the street had a doorbell camera.
Doorbells have been used in cases across the country to assist in getting information to police.
With the homeowner, detectives review the doorbell cam surveillance footage.
This video shows a black SUV which pulls up at 2 in the morning.
A shadowy black figure gets out of the SUV and then walks up to Sal's house.
Sal opened the door. They had an exchange of words.
Then the figure at the door pulled out a gun and started shooting.
The shooting played out exactly as Danielle described.
The video also appears to confirm that Sal's murder was a targeted hit.
The suspect jumps back in the SUV and he peels off with the headlights turned off.
This was strictly about killing this person.
But confirmation of how it happened doesn't get detectives any closer to solving the case.
They can't make out the person or the license plate number.
With no other leads, investigators turn to the closest thing to a witness they have.
Investigators' next move is to speak to the person who was on the phone when it happened, Danielle.
The officers sent a cruiser to pick Danielle up and bring her in to see if she could offer any additional information as to what happened to her husband.
We're sorry for your loss.
When Danielle sits down with detectives, it appears that she is still in shock.
This is a tough situation. Danielle just lost her husband. But police have to do their job.
Detectives ask Danielle to start by walking them through the events leading up to her call to 911.
We were just saying goodnight, and everything was just fine until someone knocked on the door.
Hold on, somebody's at the door.
She said he goes to the door, he answers it. She hears a conversation.
Sal.
And she hears what sounds like gunshots, and then the phone goes silent.
She just doesn't know what to do at that point.
However, Danielle does know one thing.
Do you have any idea who was at the door?
She does not hesitate to give them an answer.
There's no question in her mind who did this. No question.
It's this woman that works with me, Tashara Jackson.
Sal Shabazz's wife, Danielle, has just told detectives who she thinks gunned down the 39-year-old Army veteran in the foyer of their Newport News, Virginia home.
Sal.
Danielle tells investigators that she is convinced that Tashara Jackson, who was a fellow co-worker at the post office, is responsible for her husband's death.
What makes you think she was involved?
Tashara and I have been having problems.
She and Tashara have been going back and forth in a feud that began over a dispute at work.
What sort of problems?
I don't even know. It's just like we don't get along.
And according to Danielle, things had recently escalated.
She wanted to Tashara at the nail salon.
Well.
And I guess they have words.
I don't know what you looking at, so you need to put those eyeballs back in your head.
Her and Tashara got into a huge argument outside of the nail salon.
She did admit that while Tashara was getting her nails done, that she in fact slashed her tires.
You slashed Tashara tires?
I know I shouldn't have, but I just got so mad.
And things only got worse from there.
A few days later, according to Danielle, Tashara retaliated.
It was my birthday, and Sal took me to Vegas for the weekend.
When she got back, her car was vandalized.
Someone had spray painted the vehicle, slashed every single tire, and stuck a candy bar in her gas tank.
She knew exactly who it was. She knew that Tashara was behind it.
She didn't call the police, but she just didn't let it go either.
Danielle said the night of the murder, they went to go confront Tashara.
Sal went with you?
Yeah.
He only goes to protect her.
According to Danielle, the confrontation occurred outside a local restaurant.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, right on time. Come and get it. Come and get it.
Because you can't mind your business.
What you gonna do about it?
They get to scrapping, Tashara and Danielle. They're going at it.
Danielle says she was gaining the upper hand when Tashara threatened to take things to the next level.
While she beating Tashara down, Tashara hollers out, grab my pistol out of her car.
That's when Sal and Danielle decided it was time to go.
You guys left?
Yeah, we jumped in the car and we got out of there.
However, Danielle says she was afraid of what would happen next.
She felt like Tashara was going to retaliate.
So she grabs the girls, goes to a hotel.
She just felt that it was safer.
Sal didn't go to the hotel with you?
I tried to get him to come with us, but he wouldn't listen.
He wants to protect his house, protect his home. He doesn't know what's going to happen next. But he just wants to make sure that they have a home to come back to.
Can you please come?
I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna protect this house, okay?
Sal, being a man, he's gonna stand his ground. If anybody comes up in here, they're gonna have to deal with me.
A few hours later, Sal was dead.
Which is why Danielle is so sure that Tashara killed him.
But while Danielle is certain, the detectives aren't so sure.
Why would this work feud escalate to where somebody is now dead?
It raises questions as Danielle trying to throw the detectives off to look in a different direction.
To rule her out definitively, detectives ask Danielle to submit to a GSR test.
It isn't uncommon in a murder to look at the spouse first.
They did do gunshot residue analysis just to make sure that she wasn't the shooter.
Based on the neighbor's door cam, though, the shooter wasn't a woman.
They are looking for a black male.
If she were not the trigger person, gunshot residue can be transferred very easily.
While they wait for the results, detectives move on to the only other lead they have, Tashara Jackson. But when she sits down for questioning the following morning, they're surprised by what they find.
She's the opposite of what Danielle portrays her as.
Tashara, based on Danielle's account, is evil, vindictive, but Tashara was in fact a loving, nurturing, church-going person with no criminal record, no violent history.
And according to Tashara, that's not the only thing contrary to what Danielle led them to believe.
Once detectives sit down with Tashara, they begin to hear a very different side of the feud between Tashara and Danielle.
Let me just tell you, she's crazy.
Tashara tells detectives that it is in fact Danielle who has been the instigator in this feud.
What supposedly triggered the feud is what really raised red flags for the detectives.
Tashara tells investigators feud began when she found out that Danielle was having an affair with another one of their co-workers.
Danielle Shabazz told detectives investigating her husband's murder that she was certain her co-worker Tashara Jackson was responsible.
Danielle and Tashara work at the post office together, but over the past month or so, they've been having this feud.
But according to Tashara, Danielle hadn't told detectives the whole story.
Tashara reveals to detectives that Danielle was having an affair.
His name is Rob Barnes. He works with us at the post office.
That co-worker happens to be the husband of Tashara's best friend.
According to Tashara, The feud started because she was not happy that Danielle was sleeping with her best friend's husband.
Tashara felt like Danielle was the one who escalated the entire feud when she took it upon herself to slash her tires at the nail shop.
Is that when you trashed her car?
I never touched her car.
She makes it clear that she would have never attempted to hurt her and she would not have killed her husband.
Then who did?
You need to ask Danielle. She's the one who's been cheating.
Tashara is pointing the finger at Danielle, and Danielle is pointing the finger at Tashara.
However, if Danielle is having an affair, that could give her motive to get rid of her husband.
They knew that she didn't pull the trigger, but could she have possibly had her lover do it?
To determine if Tashara is telling the truth, detectives pulled Danielle's phone records.
The detectives were able to confirm that she was, in fact, having an affair with Rob Barnes.
They find hundreds of very sexually explicit text messages between Danielle and Rob.
But as steamy as the affair was, it didn't appear to be a mere fling.
Danielle and Rob were exchanging I love you text messages.
They potentially want to be together now.
Could that have led to Sal's murder?
Or did Danielle have another reason to get rid of her husband?
When detectives dug into Danielle's past, they found out that her perfect marriage may have not been so perfect after all.
Records show that Danielle had taken out a protective order against Sal. Danielle told investigators that Sal had headbutted her after finding messages between Danielle and another man in her phone.
But when investigators talked to people who knew the couple, it sounds more like Danielle might not be so innocent.
He and Danielle had a very, very toxic relationship.
In fact, the problem started well before they were ever married.
For their senior prom, he took another young lady and Danielle sliced the tires on the car.
It was the same thing that Danielle did to Tashara years later.
According to Sal's mother, similar incidents occurred throughout the couple's relationship.
Once she was mad at Sal, she took all his clothes and put them in a pile and poured bleach on them.
By 2021, the marriage appeared all but over.
They were talking about separating, but he did not want to leave his kids. I used to tell Sal to make the necessary sacrifices to try to keep his family together for the sake of his girls.
But for all of Sal's reasons to stick things out, detectives soon learned that Danielle had potentially one big reason to want him gone.
Sal had a $156,000 life insurance policy.
The beneficiary is Danielle.
If Danielle is having this affair, the motive would be if I can get rid of my husband, collect on his policy, me and Rob Barnes got a couple extra dollars.
But an affair and a six-figure insurance policy still aren't enough to prove that Danielle was involved in her husband's death.
Nothing that the officers have is a nail in the coffin, but it damn sure didn't look good.
It did give detectives a little leverage, though.
Armed with what they've learned, detectives bring Danielle in for another round of questioning.
They immediately asked Danielle if she had any issues in her marriage to Sal.
What do you mean?
She told them they were fine, they were in a happy marriage.
She also disputes that she was messing around with Rob Barnes.
We're friends. We work together. That's all.
What she didn't know is investigators already saw the text messages.
Danielle finally concedes, yes, she was having an affair.
But it's not what you think.
She insists she had nothing to do with Sal's death.
Danielle tells detectives that she and Sal may not have had the perfect relationship, but she would have never wanted to hurt him.
She also informed the officers that she didn't even know about the life insurance policy until after he was dead.
Not that her denials do anything to relieve the detectives' suspicions.
She withheld vital information.
Still doesn't give investigators enough to charge her with anything.
However, there's also one piece of vital information that detectives have withheld from Danielle.
The gunshot residue test that was performed on Danielle during her first interview came back.
Danielle tested positive for gunshot residue.
Danielle, you tested positive for GSR.
How you gonna explain that?
When detectives investigating her husband's murder confronted Danielle Shabazz about the affair she was having with a coworker, the mother of four admitted that she'd been unfaithful.
While she finally owned up to the affair, she kept insisting she had nothing to do with her husband's murder.
Investigators find what Danielle is saying hard to believe.
Because detectives have recently received results from the gunshot residue test they conducted on Danielle just hours after the shooting.
And these results revealed that Danielle did in fact have residue on her hands.
When detectives confront Danielle with this information, she is genuinely stunned.
How you gonna explain that?
I did not shoot a gun that night. I swear.
Danielle is like, I have no idea where that came from.
And based on the evidence, it wasn't Danielle who shot Sal 4 times just inside the couple's front door.
They know that a man killed Sal.
If you go back to that video footage from the doorbell video, it definitely was a man who pulled the trigger.
But does that mean Danielle wasn't involved?
Detectives theorize that Danielle may have recruited her lover Rob to do the murder.
And when Danielle and her lover connected at a later point, that gunshot residue could have been transferred by the holding of hands or touching something that the trigger man touched.
Could that explain how gunshot residue ended up on Danielle's hands?
That's not the only possible explanation.
She could have gotten the residue on her hands in an innocent way.
It could have happened when she rode to the police station in the police cruiser.
Which means the gunshot residue alone is not enough to make an arrest.
All of that is just a theory rooted in speculation. And investigators will have to have more evidence before they are able to move forward with any murder charges.
And while Danielle and Rob's cell phone records provide plenty of evidence of an affair, that's all detectives are able to find.
They look through their text exchanges, and they don't have any evidence of any back and forth about plotting to kill Sal.
Police also found that there was no evidence in their phone records that had them reaching out to a third party to hire the hit.
In fact, the cell phone records appear to exonerate both Danielle and her lover.
When detectives pulled their GPS locations at the time of the murder, they hit a stumbling block.
Rob nor Danielle were even in the area based on the data from the phone records.
She was nowhere close, nor was Rob.
Does that mean Danielle and her lover are innocent? Or does it mean they're smart?
Maybe Rob left his phone at home on purpose, and Danielle made that phone call to Sal from the hotel so the cops couldn't place her at the scene.
Either way, the detectives are no closer to solving Sal's murder.
They just don't have enough evidence.
They didn't have a choice other than to continue with the investigation.
So detectives decide to take a second look at Tashara Jackson, the co-worker Danielle named as Sal's killer.
Just to rule her out, the detectives pulled Tashara's cell phone records.
Although instead of ruling Tashara out, the detectives make a surprising discovery.
GPS evidence puts Tashara in close proximity to the scene of the killing, at the time of the killing.
The records don't put her at the scene of the crime, but the reason why also arouses suspicion.
Tashara's phone was turned off only moments before the murder.
Wasn't turned back on until several hours after.
This is a stunning revelation for police. Maybe Danielle was right from the beginning, and Tashara did have something to do with Sal's murder.
However, there is still one piece of the puzzle missing.
They know that Sal was shot by a man.
She must have been waiting in the car when it happened, but who could it have been that got out of the car and actually pulled the trigger?
Digging through Tashara's phone records, the detectives soon come up with a possible answer.
In the weeks leading up to the murder, Tashara had been communicating regularly with another man who also worked at the post office.
His name is Jeremy Petway.
And they weren't talking about mail. They were having an affair.
Which is wild, considering Danielle's workplace affair is what started the feud with Tashara.
All these people sleeping around. What the heck they had going on in that post office?
Based on the text messages, Tashara's affair with Jeremy was just as hot and heavy as Danielle's tryst with Rob.
Nude photos had been sent, and the conversation even included how good their sex was. They also discussed leaving their partners and being together.
And much more important for detectives, that's not all the lovers discussed.
There are text messages where Tashara is telling Mr. Petway that she appreciates him looking out for her.
Jeremy texts back that he was the protector.
They have this exchange about being Bonnie and Clyde.
Detectives investigating the murder of 39-year-old Sal Shabazz were all but convinced that his wife Danielle was behind his death. But new information has just turned the case on its head.
Cell phone records put Danielle's co-worker, Tashara Jackson, and Tashara's lover, Jeremy Petway, near the scene where the murder occurred.
Danielle had been pointing the finger at Tashara from the beginning.
She and this coworker had some sort of a feud or rivalry.
Based on Tashara and Jeremy's text, Danielle was right about Tashara all along.
Although Tashara and Jeremy do not openly admit to killing Sal Shabazz, the implications are clear. In the days following the shooting, Tashara told Jeremy, "You didn't hesitate."
And he calls them Bonnie and Clyde.
To detectives, it is clear that they are gloating about their crime.
And one of Jeremy's last text messages leaves little doubt they're responsible for Sal's death.
Jeremy tells Tashara, "I gave the gun to one of our friends at work."
Detectives assumed they're texting about the murder weapon.
Investigators quickly follow up on what they've learned from the phone records.
Investigators got a warrant to search the home of the friend that Jeremy mentioned in the text message.
Police show up to this person's house.
Who else is in the house with you?
And as luck would have it, Jeremy is also there.
Jeremy, step outside. You're under arrest. Put your hands behind your back.
The police place Jeremy under arrest and search the house.
Upstairs under the friend's bed, detectives find the handgun.
The officers send the gun straight to ballistics to be tested. And when the results came back, it was indeed the weapon that was used to kill Sal.
It's just slam dunk in the mind of the investigators.
Detectives also take Tashara into custody.
She asks for an attorney and refuses to make a statement.
And at the police station, Jeremy insists that the only relationship they have is as co-workers.
But Jeremy's denials and Tashara's silence do little to deter the detectives.
Even without their confessions, police are ready to charge them with first-degree murder.
Newport News police did their job, and they did it well.
Despite everyone suspecting Danielle, the arrest couldn't have happened without her.
She was a big help because she was on the phone when it all happened.
She was also the person to first put the police on to Tashara.
But when Tashara Jackson goes on trial in March of 2022, it's also clear that her feud with Danielle led directly to Sal's death.
All of this started with Tashara not being happy about Danielle having an affair with her best friend's husband.
The disagreement escalated when Tashara and Danielle got into the argument in front of the nail salon. Danielle slashed Tashara's tires.
To retaliate, Tashara vandalized Danielle's car.
And things only escalated from there.
That led to the beatdown that Danielle gave Tashara in the restaurant parking lot.
For Tashara, it was the last straw.
She wanted to end this feud once and for all.
Prosecutors lay out how, after that altercation at the restaurant, Tashara calls her friend, Jeremy.
Now, we need to get this girl. We're gonna get her.
That begins the murder plot that ultimately ends in the death of Sal.
Just bring the car, bring the gun.
And early on the morning of April 7th, just hours after the parking lot showdown, Tashara and Jeremy set their plan in motion.
Using their phone records, prosecutors was able to show that Jeremy went to pick Tashara up.
Then, as they neared Danielle and Sal's house, Jeremy and Tashara turned off their phones.
She turns her cell phone off, not realizing that investigators can go back and see that you turned it off just before this man got killed.
But the neighbor's doorbell cam captured what happened next.
Jeremy got out of the car and went up to Danielle and Sal's front door.
They intended to shoot her, but they didn't know she wasn't at home.
They had no idea that Danielle had taken the children to the hotel.
So?
Instead, it was Sal who answered the door.
Yeah, I heard you got a problem with Tashara.
Man, we know what happened.
What are you talking about, man? Man, don't even worry about it.
Had Danielle answered the door, she would have been the one who was killed.
Then Jeremy ditched the gun with a friend, and when detectives brought her in for questioning, Tashara used the affair to turn suspicion towards Danielle.
Then who did?
You need to ask Danielle. She's the one who's been cheating.
They thought they had it all figured out.
But the defense can't explain away Tashara's phone records.
With the text messages, there's no doubt left that this is what happened.
Even though they did not have confessions, they did not have eyewitnesses, they had enough evidence that when you put it all together, it painted one very ugly picture.
Would it be enough to convince the jury?
The jury finds Tashara guilty after less than an hour of deliberation.
And Jeremy meets the same fate.
Jeremy is convicted following his own trial.
They were both sentenced to 39 years in prison.
Tashara's lawyer tried to argue the fact that, well, since he pulled the trigger, maybe we can give her less time. The judge said, nope, she gonna get the same time as he got.
Even though the family of the deceased wanted life without parole, they were satisfied with the verdict.
I think about the number of families that don't get justice. I'll take 39 years, it's better than nothing.
She had a sparkle about her that shined from within.
She just had everything going for her.
Everybody wanted to be around Danielle. They loved her.
She made you feel happy.
And he was someone who filled her with that same happiness.
He had just come back from overseas.
They had this instant chemistry.
He was very nice to her and catering to her.
But just when things seemed perfect, their future is shattered by a violent attack.
I was laying on the floor with her until they came.
I don't think I've ever been that devastated.
As investigators begin examining the fragments of the night's events, they'll shine a light on the splintered details of a love gone wrong.
They knew something was off.
They had a love triangle on their hands.
Man, I'm trying to figure out what the hell going on, bro.
But when the case threatens to implode,
they realize that he has lied to them.
I looked at him, and I said, I look like a demon.
police fear it will be impossible to discern the truth from the lies.
He's going to try to kill one of them, or they're going to kill him.
He told detectives, what I have to say, you're not going to believe.
I was like, oh, hell no. Ain't nobody gonna believe that I wasn't the one to pull the trigger.
You shouldn't be killing people just because your feelings are hurt. That's weak.
January 11th, 2009. As the holiday hustle fades, citizens of Jacksonville are looking forward to a new year on Florida's eastern coastline.
Jacksonville is a big city with a small town feel. One of the really cool things about living here is a lot of people know each other.
We have a pretty thriving downtown, a lot of entertainment in the city center.
It's a place where you feel the love, you feel, the excitement.
But at 3 p.m., 56-year-old Janice Stubbs is starting to panic.
Jacksonville 911, Hodges. Yes, I need to get an officer.
She calls the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office to report her daughter, Danielle Stubbs, missing.
Danielle had made plans to go with her mother to actually go shopping.
I was sitting at home and I was waiting for her to call me, and she never called. And I'm like, what in the world is going on?
When's the last time you saw her? Yesterday at 4 o'clock.
So all day long, I'm worried. And I call her phone. She never answered the phone, nothing.
Is it out of character for her to go missing? It's very out of character. I'm going to send a police officer out to you.
Danielle's mother tells police that she and her family are going to wait at Danielle's townhouse until officers arrive to assist them.
I just looked at my husband and my son. I said, let's just go.
Minutes later, the Stubbs family arrives at Danielle's home.
As soon as they got there, they noticed that her car wasn't in the driveway.
And when the parents knocked on the door, they couldn't get in. They didn't get a response.
Danielle's family tries to be patient for police arrival, but as time ticks away, the family only becomes more concerned.
Like any mother, Danielle's mother is getting very impatient, so they actually call again.
Jacksonville 911. Yes, they haven't came out yet. I'm really nervous. The officer has been assigned, but they're on another call right now. I really need to get this in motion. Okay, ma'am. The officer will be there.
With no idea when police will arrive, Danielle's brother decides to take action.
No, I can't wait no more. I'm going around back.
Her brother decides, you know what, I'm gonna go look around on my own. He goes to the back of the house, finds the door unlocked, goes inside, and then goes to the front door to open the door for his parents.
Danielle! Danielle, is she here?
Danielle!
Is she here?
They were calling out for Danielle, got no response, so the brother finally went to check the bedroom. When he went into the bedroom, he saw what no one would want to see.
Danielle's brother found her on the floor in her bedroom.
Oh, no, no! No!
Did you find her?
Did you find her?
Danielle's family makes another desperate call to 911.
Jacksonville 911. Sir, what happened?
Danielle's brother can barely communicate.
Since she was a child, Danielle Stubbs made it a point to always look her best.
Everybody, people I didn't even know, would be like, oh, God, that girl, she's just so beautiful. So that was her little nickname to the community, Miss Beautiful.
When I first met her, to be honest, I was a little intimidated. She was so pretty. She kept her hair, her nails, her outfits always together.
She was very much a girly girl. She had lipstick on, wore makeup, loved eyelashes, just pretty things.
She never went out the house without her bracelets, and she always had on a heel. She rarely wore tennis shoes.
But while Danielle had incomparable style, it wasn't the only reason people called her Miss Beautiful.
Her personality, she's beautiful inside and out. Everybody wanted to be around Danielle. They loved her.
I didn't know anything negative about Danielle. It was crazy. She was very giving.
She made you feel happy.
When 26-year-old Danielle wasn't spending time with family or friends, she was putting in long hours at work.
She was actually working 2 jobs.
She worked full-time in hospital administration in the emergency room at Jacksonville Naval Air Station.
The doctors there, they really enjoyed being around her.
And then she also worked with her mother at their family business in the beauty salon.
She did hair at her mom's shop. She was a braider, but she did a lot of other styles as well, too.
Danielle was really independent. She fully supported herself and just genuinely enjoyed her life.
Danielle, she took very good care of herself. She made sure she always kept herself together. She never asked anybody for anything. She was an awesome person.
Like many women in their 20s, one of Danielle's favorite pastimes was enjoying the nightlife her city had to offer.
Danielle was living the life of what most girls her age would do. She was not married yet, but certainly dating and enjoying going out with her friends.
And in the spring of 2008, a typical night out would change Danielle's life forever.
Danielle was out with some co-workers when she met 24-year-old Justin McMillan.
Hey, that next round's on me.
Oh, thank you.
When Danielle and Justin met, they had this instant chemistry.
No, you really didn't have to do that.
A beautiful girl like you deserve it.
He was very nice to her and catering to her.
It was so easy for them to just open up to one another.
The two of them talked for hours.
He had just came home from being overseas. He spent 2 years in Iraq working with the military as a personal trainer.
Justin was originally from Georgia and had 2 young kids that still lived there with their mother.
So he disclosed all these things to Danielle about what was happening in his life. He had been separated from his wife, and apparently that marriage was ending, but he still wanted to be able to spend time with his kids.
He was feeling a little bit lost. He had just moved back to Florida and was staying with some family until he kind of figured things out.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Divorce is so hard.
Danielle had just this big heart and a giving spirit.
If you need anything, I'm here for you.
That means a lot.
From there, the relationship between Danielle and Justin took off.
Justin was staying with Danielle quite frequently.
She was having fun. He was just doing what she needed him to do to make her feel secure in a relationship.
I think Danielle liked that Justin had a lot of time for her. He was open to going to family functions and just basically being a good boyfriend to her.
They even discussed getting engaged after Justin's divorce was finalized.
But now Danielle's panicked family is on the phone with 911 after discovering her lifeless body on her bedroom floor.
I just found her dead. Okay, where was she cut or shot or how was she killed?
I don't know, she's been put in the blood.
The police are on the way and ambulance as well.
At that point, she was already gone. And I just started rubbing her back, rubbing her back. And I was laying on the floor with her until they came.
Police arrived within minutes.
It's so clear that this woman has died a very violent death, and there's nothing they can do to save her.
I was kind of in shock. I was trying my best to see, was she gone? I just could not believe it.
Who could have done this to Danielle?
In the winter of 2009, 26-year-old Danielle Stubbs seemed like she had it all.
People called Danielle Miss Beautiful, and it was quite evident that she was beautiful inside and out.
And with her handsome boyfriend, Justin McMillan, by her side, the sky was the limit for the couple.
These two really hit it off. Everything just was working. It was like a match made in heaven.
But just hours after reporting her missing, Danielle's family has made a heart-wrenching discovery. Danielle lifeless on the floor of her bedroom.
For us, we were in shock. My baby was gone. She was gone.
The shock waves from Danielle's death echo throughout the community.
I don't think I've ever been that devastated. I hadn't really experienced that kind of hurt.
It was just very devastating. It was more hurtful for me to just see her family just torn apart like that, to be honest. It was just hard.
Homicide detectives are determined to get to the bottom of this tragedy.
Their objective at that point was to process how it happened.
They've noticed multiple gunshot wounds, one in the arm and one in the head.
Police found 2 spent .45 caliber shell casings around Danielle's body and collected it as evidence.
Investigators immediately rule out robbery as the motive for this crime.
They noticed there weren't really any signs or obvious evidence showing like someone had broken into her home.
There's no signs of forced entry or any valuables missing. So at this point, it's more likely that Danielle was killed by a person that she trusted and had access to her home.
Back at the station, detectives reach out to one of those trusted individuals, Danielle's boyfriend, Justin McMillan.
He had called the police station several times asking to speak with them while they were at the crime scene.
Hey Justin, how you doing? I'd gotten a couple messages to give you a call.
Yeah. I don't, man. I'm trying to figure out what the hell going on, bro.
He said as soon as he heard the news that Danielle was gone, the first thing he did was call Jacksonville police.
Okay. Well, good. Well, then maybe you can help me out a little bit. Is there anything maybe that you might be able to tell me that might be able to help us? When's that last time you've actually seen her talk to her?
It was probably about 6 o'clock Saturday evening.
About 6 o'clock the night before, she invited him to go out with her along with her co-workers out to a club, and he declined the offer.
Justin claims that he went to spend time with his family, and Danielle was supposed to call him when she got home.
This is crazy, because, I mean, she told me she was going to call me as soon as she left the club because she wanted me to spend the night with her.
Right.
Because I was leaving. I was just going to move back to Georgia.
Justin explains that he and Danielle had recently decided to end their relationship.
Due to Justin having personal business, I'm assuming with his kids needing to go back to Georgia, that was going to be the end of them.
Justin said that it was an amicable breakup, that there was no hard feelings.
I mean, you can ask any of her friends or parents, man, we have not gotten into one altercation. Right.
But Justin says he never heard from Danielle that night.
Justin tells detectives that he was supposed to hear from Danielle before the club closed, but when he didn't, he decided, okay, well, I might as well hit the road and head to Georgia.
So what time do you think he was out of Jacksonville?
It was maybe 2.
He says he's been in Georgia ever since, but got worried when he hadn't heard from her.
So is there anything that you know, maybe someone has been upset with her or people she's been hanging out with or anything?
All right, it was this guy.
He mentioned a gentleman by the name of Drew Elder, her co-worker.
Drew was one of the co-workers Danielle had been out clubbing with on the night of January the 10th.
Justin didn't really have a good feeling about Drew.
Justin said he was very disrespectful to him.
In fact, Justin tells detectives he and Drew had a tense run-in just a couple weeks earlier.
About, I'm going to say 2.5 weeks ago, I was driving her car because she took my car and went to the beauty salon. And I was at a gas station, went to go get me something to drink and a pack of Black & Mild.
It was then that Justin ran into Drew.
He was like, hey, that's Danielle car? And I was like, yeah. He was like, damn, she doing it like that? I was like, what you mean, man? Well, I mean, what's up?
Justin was always concerned about Drew with Danielle because he felt that he was too flirty, or he felt that he had a crush on Danielle.
I said, man, what you talking about, man? So he got in the car with his little homeboy and they left or whatever.
Justin said Drew was definitely bad news.
But is he capable of murder?
It sounded like detectives had a love triangle on their hands.
Detectives in Jacksonville, Florida, are speaking to Justin McMillan, the ex-boyfriend of 26-year-old murder victim Danielle Stubbs.
Is there anything that you know, maybe someone has been upset with her, or people she's been hanging out with or anything?
Justin said on the night that Danielle went missing, she had been out with some co-workers, including a co-worker by the name of Drew Elder.
And Justin has nothing good to say about Drew.
Justin told detectives that he was a little bit too flirty when it came to Danielle. He didn't trust him.
It sounded like a classic love triangle.
Detectives are eager to hear what else Justin has to say, but know they need to continue the conversation in person.
You know, it's a shame I can't go into, great details over the phone. I don't know how far in Georgia are you, but how long would it take you to get to Jacksonville? 2 hours. 2 hours, okay. Would you mind meeting me somewhere? Maybe I can show you a couple things and I can be done with you and I can move on. Yeah.
Detectives asked Justin if he would come in to the station, and he said absolutely.
As detectives wait for Justin to arrive, they turn their attention to Danielle's co-worker and alleged admirer, Drew Elder.
If Drew really wanted Danielle, it's no telling how far he would go, especially if she refused his advances.
It doesn't take long for detectives to track down Drew and bring him in for questioning.
He seemed shocked to learn that Danielle was found deceased.
I just saw her the other night. I can't believe she's gone.
They asked Drew, did he and Danielle ever have a romantic relationship?
He admitted that he was attracted to her, and when Danielle told him that her and Justin had broken up, he became excited.
Broken up. I was happy about that because it meant I had a chance with her. Sure.
Detectives ask Drew to give them a timeline of his night with Danielle.
Drew says they met up at their co-worker's house at 9 p.m. and he drove all three of them to the club and they just had a good old time and danced the night away.
The three ended up staying out super late until the clubs basically closed.
He decided he would take her home to make sure she got home safe.
Thank you for the ride home.
Of course.
He did get the feeling that she was into him, and maybe their friendship would become something more.
We got there around 3:30. She got out and went inside. And that's it.
You never went inside her place?
No.
Drew was adamant that he just stayed inside the car.
Drew swears to police that he thought she was the most beautiful and amazing person. He swears he didn't kill her.
Did you see anyone else around when you dropped her off?
Well, there was a brown Cadillac parked outside.
Police asked him, could he tell if there was anyone inside? But he said he couldn't because the tent was too dark on the car.
If Drew wasn't responsible for what happened to Danielle, could the owner of the brown Cadillac be involved somehow?
At this point, Drew was still one of their prime suspects, and they weren't even sure if he was telling the truth.
But when detectives dig deeper into their new lead, they make a chilling discovery.
They find that Justin McMillan has a brown Cadillac registered under his name.
When detectives spoke with Justin, he said he was already in Georgia at the time. So who was telling the truth? Drew or Justin?
Investigators hope surveillance footage can give them the answers they need.
Detectives go to all of the gas stations located near Danielle's home to collect whatever surveillance video they could find.
If they caught Justin's brown Cadillac on camera at one of the local gas stations early that morning, it's likely that Drew was telling the truth.
And detectives are in luck.
Wait, pause it right there.
They found just what they were looking for.
Detectives see Justin's Cadillac pull into a gas station.
They see video footage of the man get out of the brown Cadillac that matches the description of Justin McMillan.
The time signature on the tape showed him pulling the car in at 4 a.m.
2 hours after he said that he had left town.
They realize that he has lied to them. Now, the investigators are anxious to hear how he intends to explain this 2-hour difference.
But even though Justin was supposed to arrive in Jacksonville hours ago, detectives are still left waiting.
Justin told detectives that day that he would meet with them once he drove back to Florida. So detectives called Justin to see where he was.
I'm getting ready to head back in a few minutes now.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't have nothing to run from. I don't have nothing to hide from.
No one's saying that, Justin. We're just trying to figure out what's going on, and if you can help me, that'd be great.
However, by the next day, Justin still hasn't shown up.
Detectives sit and wait, and time just continues to go by. They call, they get no answer.
He never came.
Since it appears Justin is evading them, their only option is to bring him in by force.
He can run, but he can't hide. But in order to track Justin down, they incorporate the help of the U.S. Marshals to do a manhunt search.
Once U.S. Marshals are on the case, they quickly zero in on their target.
On the afternoon of January 14th, 2009, the police locate Justin at a house in Jacksonville. They did surveillance and found that he was leaving the home, driving the brown Cadillac.
Marshals pulled behind him and turned their emergency lights on in an effort to pull him over.
He pulled over, seeming to comply, but opened his door and launched off in a full run.
The marshals engage in a foot chase, yelling at him, telling him to stop. Justin refuses to give up.
But the situation takes a violent spin as Justin resists arrest.
Justin turned to the police officer and shot in the direction of the patrol car. The U.S. Marshals returned fire.
He figured he would go down in a blaze.
On January 14, 2009, authorities in Jacksonville, Florida are attempting to apprehend the man they suspect murdered Danielle Stubbs, her ex-boyfriend, Justin McMillan. But the Air Force veteran isn't going down without a fight.
He doesn't want to be caught. He's going down in a blaze.
He shot at the police officers.
Fortunately, none of the marshals were hit by Justin's gun. However, Justin had suffered several gunshot wounds.
Hey, we're gonna need medical out here ASAP.
Justin was hit 6 times, and that's when he was apprehended.
Although Jacksonville detectives are relieved to finally have Justin in custody, his injuries will definitely complicate their investigative process.
Justin is rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Detectives don't know whether or not he'll survive this incident.
If Justin dies, then the truth behind Danielle's murder could be a mystery forever.
Doctors do everything they can to keep Justin alive.
He underwent several surgeries. He was also put into a medically induced coma.
Meanwhile, investigators compare the bullets collected from the shootout to the ones found in Danielle's bedroom.
The casings that were found in Danielle Stubbs' apartment came from a .45 caliber handgun, the same type of gun that was collected at the shootout with the U.S. Marshals.
With all of this evidence pointing towards Justin, what detectives want now is a confession.
And 2 weeks later, they'll get their chance when Justin awakens from his coma.
On January 29th, detectives from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office met Justin in his hospital room.
Justin, hey man, how you feeling? Doing better? Okay. When we talked on the phone, you remember talking to me? Yeah. I want to go back over a little bit of that with you.
But when prodded by detectives, Justin stands by his original story and claims the last time he spoke to Danielle was around 10 p.m. on the 10th.
Seems like she went on some finished work.
Were you mad that she was gone? No?
He said he hung out with his family in Jacksonville that night, waiting for Danielle to call after she left the club, but she never did.
I stayed up until about 2. Went to the gas station. Put some gas in my car. I went towards it.
However, the surveillance video shows otherwise, that he was still in town at 4 a.m.
Detectives let Justin know that they know he's lying about getting on the road at 2 a.m.
You know that little gas station right around the corner from her house? You're on video in there. You went inside. Your car's actually out in the parking lot. But this is at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Realizing he's caught in a lie, Justin admits he was outside Danielle's home when Drew Elder dropped her off at 3:30 a.m.
He said he still loved her and wanted to say goodbye before he left to go back to Georgia.
You wasn't mad? There's nothing wrong with being angry. That's just it's a human emotion.
No. Okay, what happens from there?
Inside.
He said she seemed to be very happy to see him. They went upstairs.
Did you already have the gun in the house at that time?
He was upstairs with me.
I'm gonna miss you when I have to move back to Georgia. I'm not ready to say goodbye.
I know. Justin said he laid down to go to sleep with Danielle, and the next thing he knew, he blacked out.
I remember just, it was fun. Everything was just blank. Everything was quiet.
And Justin says when he came to, he was horrified by what he saw. 2 weeks after his violent shootout with police, Jacksonville detectives are finally speaking with murder suspect Justin McMillan.
They shot him 6 times and his ass still didn't die.
Justin now claims he woke up on the morning of January 11th to find Danielle dead.
Did you try to wake her up or move her or help her? Justin, look at me. Did you panic? Yes?
Yes.
And you leave? And you don't dial 911? You don't call family?
I really don't.
Saying you blanked out ain't gonna cut it. You a healthy man. The military.
Detectives are tired of hearing the lie, so they let him know that they know that he's not telling the truth, and they have evidence to prove it.
Detectives tell Justin that they sent the bullets from his shootout with U.S. Marshals to be tested against the bullets found in Danielle's bedroom.
What do you think the results were? It was a match. Yeah. Now you're in a tight situation right now, okay?
At this point, Justin is beginning to realize that the walls are closing in.
We know the rest of the answers. Okay, we know the where and the who and the what and the how, but why? What happened in there that was so bad that you had to shoot her? Was it her being dropped off by the guy? I mean, honestly. Huh? Is that what it was?
Justin can't take the pressure any longer.
He now admitted to being angry when he saw Danielle's co-worker, Drew Elder, drop her off.
Justin claimed to police at that time that he was angry that she had been out with another man.
He waited till she went inside, and that's when he went in behind her.
Like, you think you can just sit there and disrespect me like that?
We aren't together anymore, Justin. I can do whatever I want.
What?
They had a fight. I'm sure they had a fight. Danielle was a fighter.
That's when I lost you.
Huh? Thought about him, and you lost him. What happened? What happened?
I shot.
He was like, ain't nobody gonna have you if I can't have you. That's how he thought in his head.
And then what? Shot her again?
That's when Justin admits he fired the fatal shot into her head.
She was shot twice, so he meant to kill her. He literally meant to kill her.
Once Danielle was dead, he just walked out. He went to a nearby gas station to fill up his car and then left for Georgia.
I wish none of this would have happened. I deserve to be punished. Yeah, probably so.
Detectives tell him that he's going to be charged with the murder of Danielle Stubbs, as well as attempted murder of U.S. Marshals.
Word of Justin's arrest spreads like wildfire.
Once he went to jail, they caught him and everything. We saw it on the news, and people were calling. I mean, it was a big time. It was a big thing in Jacksonville.
It was a sigh of relief, but at the same time, I knew it wasn't gonna bring my friend back.
With Justin McMillan's confession now on record, investigators are hoping for an easy conviction. But as the trial looms closer, they get an unexpected call from the Duval County Jail.
While awaiting trial, Justin asked to speak with members of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office.
Detectives sit down with Justin again, this time in an interrogation room.
I ain't seen you since you was at the hospital. You looking a lot better, like I said, man. You putting on some weight. Look like you're healing up, okay?
He told detectives, what I have to say, you're not gonna believe.
It's pertaining to that night.
Okay.
I didn't pull the trigger.
He changed his story entirely.
Jacksonville detectives have finally obtained a confession from Justin McMillan for the murder of his ex-girlfriend, Danielle Stubbs. But while in jail awaiting trial, Justin makes a shocking announcement.
Justin suddenly decides he wants to recant his story.
I didn't pull the trigger.
Police asked Justin, well, why did you confess to it then at the hospital? And he acts confused.
Justin says that he was on so many painkillers that he doesn't even remember talking to the detectives.
You know?
He's claiming that during the hospital stay, he was on too much medication to give a statement.
They had me on so many drugs.
Well, they really didn't.
They really did.
I'm not going to dispute that with you. I mean, we get the hospital records.
In fact, the hospital record showed he'd only been on Motrin at the time that he gave his initial statement to the police.
So if you're not the one that shot her, then who's the one that did? Who would be responsible for it?
I don't know.
Justin explains that when he went to Danielle's home on January 10th, he was just stopping by on his way to Georgia to pick something up he'd left there, his pistol.
I have my pistol upstairs. I hope ain't nobody in here.
Mm-hmm.
So I go upstairs and I say, Danielle, I don't hear nothing.
Danielle.
He says that's when he saw her deceased.
My pistol was laying on the bed because I left my pistol there.
Justin tells investigators at that point he just panicked.
But she wasn't moving. I was like, Danielle, she didn't respond. So I was like, oh, hell no. Okay. I grabbed my phone and I left. I mean, at the time, I knew nobody wasn't going to believe that. And I know now ain't nobody really going to believe it.
Justin was essentially claiming that someone else killed Danielle with his gun, framing him for the crime. It's just ridiculous.
Did it ever cross your mind to call for some help?
Yeah.
Because that's going to be the obvious question.
It crossed my mind 1,000 times. Ain't nobody gonna believe I didn't pull the trigger because I got the weapon. It's my weapon. You see what I'm saying?
He swears that he is telling the truth.
But detectives aren't buying it.
This is the third story that Justin had given police now, and they had just run out of patience for him.
Detectives tell him at this point it's going to be up to a judge and jury.
In June of 2010, Justin gets his chance to plead his case in court.
Justin McMillan goes on trial for the murder of Danielle Stubbs and the attempted murder of U.S. Marshals. He knows that he's facing the death penalty.
The trial, I didn't want to look at that man. I didn't want to see him, but I looked at him. And I said, I said, it looked like a demon. That's what I said, it looked like a demon.
His defense team realized with the ballistic evidence against him, as well as his original confession at the hospital, they would never be able to convince a jury that he did not shoot Danielle.
So instead, they attempt to at least save him from the death penalty.
During the trial, the defendant did make the decision to testify. He admitted again to shooting Danielle. But the defense had a theory of the case that this defendant at the time was just suffering from what we would call a depraved mind.
Justin's defense team argues that since he shot at Danielle in the heat of passion, that he shouldn't get the death penalty and that he should get second-degree murder.
However, the prosecution is ready with a rebuttal.
What the state argued was that it was the defendant who shot Danielle, first shooting her in the right arm, an injury that she would have likely survived, and then he made the decision to shoot her in the head.
After just 6 hours of deliberation, the jury comes to a decision: guilty on all charges.
He's convicted of first-degree murder and given the death penalty as a result.
But just 2 months into his sentence, Justin still isn't willing to accept punishment for what he's done.
Justin attempts to escape prison.
And while Justin's attempt at escaping prison is unsuccessful, he is able to escape the death penalty.
The death penalty law did later change in the state of Florida, and at this time, Justin McMillan is serving life in prison without the possibility of parole.
For those that loved and cherished Danielle, Justin's conviction and subsequent sentencing offers little solace.
It was a relief with the guilty verdict. But at the same time, though, my daughter is gone. He should have never been off death row. He should have been on that 10 by 10 cell with that black and white TV and reading one book a day.
She was a refugee, making a name for herself in the U.S.
She was born in Cuba. She wanted to be an artist. She wanted to be somebody.
And she finally met a man that felt like home.
He was also an immigrant. That was the common bond the two of them had.
She begins to fall for this guy. The stars begin to twinkle.
But when torrential rains reveal a horrific crime, the entire community is put on high alert.
The body had been mutilated and burned in that stream.
It almost looked like an autopsy left undone.
This was obviously not a run-of-the-mill murder.
We had some kind of cycle on our hands.
When two suspects implicate one another, the cards of fate send investigators spiraling down a dark and twisted trail.
He made the police really creeped out.
He believes that he can read minds and that he can control people.
This wasn't a man that she was dealing with. This was a devil.
There was blood splatter all over the walls.
He was cool. He was collected. He was a killer.
Just 30 miles north of Midtown Manhattan lies the village of Spring Valley, a diverse suburb divided between Ramapo and Clarkstown, New York.
Spring Valley historically was a resort town and beautiful area, mountains, trees, rivers.
It's a big mixture of different communities that do get along together very well. In particular, within the Hispanic community.
In the summer of 1998, Spring Valley had been hit with a torrential rainfall as part of an unusual weather phenomenon crossing the country.
At that period of time, the U.S. was under the influence of El Nino. And what that meant for our area here in the Northeast was rain, rain, rain.
Our parks was flooded, our streets, people complaining about their yards, their houses being flooded.
But by Monday, June 13th, the rain has finally subsided.
A local resident went out to inspect the water levels in the creek in his backyard.
He was checking the drainage because, all the rain that they've been having.
Whenever there's rain and stuff, he gets a little flooding, and because of El Nino, it was a lot more rain.
However, when the man reaches the edge of the creek, he notices something unsettling.
It looked like a body wrapped in some sort of plastic.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And horrified, he immediately ran to the phone, called 911, and said, "I think you need to get here now."
Investigators quickly respond to the man's home.
It's back here.
I was led to the backyard of the caller that called it in. The body appeared to be wrapped in some kind of plastic and set on fire, and it was already decomposing. I knew that this was going to be a very difficult case to even start to put together.
There was no trace evidence, nothing you might expect at a typical crime scene.
The police were able to at least ascertain that it appeared to be a young Hispanic woman, probably in her early 20s.
Investigators hope fingerprints will help ID their victim, but they're soon hit with a horrific realization.
There's no hands. They're gone?
To my shock, the hands on this body were missing. They were actually hacked off.
This was something that really took them back.
I'm realizing that based on the hands being cut off and the body being set on fire, that this was done to try and prevent us from identifying who this person was.
The detectives didn't have a hand, let alone a print. So they had to call the medical examiner.
After the medical examiner removes the burned plastic, he discovers even more horrifying details.
Not only are her hands severed, she was disemboweled as well.
But regardless of the body's condition, the medical examiner is able to ascertain the cause of death.
Massive blunt force trauma to the head.
This lady was brutally murdered with some kind of foreign object, maybe a sledgehammer.
They believe those blows to the head probably caused instant death, which is good because the severing of the hands, the mutilating of the body, were most likely done post-mortem, so she didn't have to suffer through that.
Unfortunately, a large part of her face is indistinguishable, so they are still unable to identify her.
We really had nothing to go on, but luckily I've worked with this awesome officer from Clarkstown who is also a sketch artist. So I immediately contacted him.
He was able to duplicate one side of the face to match the other side of the face so that you now had a face in its entirety.
This sketch was then put to all the newspapers and television stations in the New York tri-state area.
And before long, they get a call from a local man named Stanley Ellis.
Anderson.
Hi. I'm calling about the girl in the newspaper.
He immediately recognized the sketch, particularly the gap in the teeth.
It was his missing friend, 20-year-old Beatrice Alvarez.
He said that was my friend Beatrice. I hadn't seen her in over a month. I wondered what happened to her.
On the cusp of adulthood, Beatrice Alvarez had already experienced more than many people do in a lifetime.
She was a refugee from Havana, Cuba. She endured many trials along the way, but she was resilient.
Her and her family, they ended up in Queens.
But like many hoping to achieve the American dream, the obstacles they faced proved to be insurmountable.
They did fall on hard times, and unfortunately, it broke the family up. The brother and the sister, they moved away. The mother ended up, I believe, in a homeless shelter.
Although she did come from this background where her family struggled, Beatrice did not let that stop her.
She became a hairdresser to earn a living. She was talented in that way.
Anybody that she came in contact with instantly fell in love with her because she just had that charming personality.
She always had a smile. She was always upbeat. She was always determined.
But doing hair wasn't Beatrice's true passion.
She liked to do hair as a profession, but her heart and soul was really much into the fine arts, and she wanted to be an artist.
One of her prized possessions was her sketch pad, and she took it with her everywhere she went.
She wanted to be somebody. She wanted to live the artist life.
She was trying to aspire to reach the American dream.
Having spent much of her life alone, Beatrice also yearned for companionship. And during the spring of 1998, she thought she'd found just that in local shop owner Felipe Rivera.
Hey.
Hi.
How was work?
It was good. A little slow, but it gave me time to work on my sketches.
She is in love with him and is ready to start this life with him. However, she then meets his friend, Vinicio.
Hola, Felipe.
Vinicio.
Vinicio walks in, and that's all that she can see.
Hey, Vinicio, this is my girl, Beatrice.
Nice to meet you, Beatrice.
Nice to meet you.
You two want to grab some lunch today?
Oh, man, I can't. I have to stay behind and man the store.
Felipe encouraged her to go get lunch with Vinicio.
Hey, you two be good.
They decide to go out for lunch together, and that was it. She's totally into this guy.
It was one moment where they were actually alone together, just talking and getting to know each other, and sparks started to fly.
These are amazing.
Thank you. I want to be an artist full time, but city can be a lot, you know?
Trust me, I get it.
Vinicio was also an immigrant. He came from South America, and that was the common bond the two of them had. He's 32, and he seems to have this stuff together. He's got his own place. He's got a job, a good job, too.
Vinicio was working at a military manufacturer.
It's not easy to survive here, but hard work and determination will get you a long way.
You think so? Feels kind of hopeless sometimes.
I won't let you give up. You got real talent, B.
She opens up herself to a situation where she begins to fall for this guy. The stars begin to twinkle. It's always that, for lack of a better term, that apple in the garden, that forbidden fruit.
Listen, I've actually got some connections. I think I could help you.
Really?
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Ultimately, Beatrice decided that she would leave her boyfriend and go live with Vinicio Valverde.
But now, after receiving a call from her friend, Stanley Ellis, detectives believe Beatrice Alvarez is the woman found brutally murdered and dismembered in a local creek.
Yeah, that sketch looks exactly like her.
Her hands had been cut off, and she had been disemboweled, burned.
Very dangerous, maybe deranged person that will go to these kind of extremes. We had some kind of cycle on our hands.
20-year-old Beatrice Alvarez was an artist chasing her dreams when she fell in love with 32-year-old Vinicio Valverde.
They felt they had the same likes, and it was their life stories were about the same, how they immigrated from another country to come here for a better life.
Beatrice believes that she has found her soulmate, her match. This is the man that is going to help her really build that American dream. But
now Beatrice's promising future hangs in the balance.
Her friend believes she was the woman police found, burned and dismembered in her local creek.
It's one thing to kill a person. It's another thing to cut their stomach open and then cut off their hand. That speaks to a sociopath.
When was the last time you saw Beatrice?
It's been a few weeks.
He said they knew each other from working at the salon and used to talk and hang out quite often.
Then one day, Beatrice was gone.
It was really just quite sudden. One day she just doesn't show up and never showed up again.
I don't see her for weeks. And then her boyfriend shows up for a haircut appointment.
Hey, Stanley.
Hey, have you seen Beatrice?
He says, what's going on? Is she okay?
Stanley says he was surprised by what Vinicio said next.
She left me for another guy.
He just casually says, well, one night she got into a car with a musician and drove off.
A musician?
Yeah. I don't know his name, but she left me for him.
Did he say where they went?
Nope. He didn't give me any other details.
After speaking with Stanley, investigators are able to confirm his hunch about his missing friend.
Rockland County was very fortunate to have a brilliant medical examiner.
Once they had a name, they were able to use DNA evidence to confirm her identity. They were certain Beatrice was their deceased victim.
But when they attempt to deliver the tragic news to Beatrice's next of kin, detectives hit a wall.
I did everything I could to reach out to the mother, but unfortunately, due to her being homeless, I couldn't locate her.
As Beatrice's family had been dispersed really across the country, it was very difficult to track down the next of kin.
Thanks.
But eventually, the brother called, and I actually spoke to him on the phone, and he was informed that his sister was killed. Unfortunately, during my career, I've made too many death notifications, and no matter how many you do, it does not get easier. And this was probably one of the worst ones that I had to do, because not only did I have to make a notification that a loved one was dead, but they were brutally murdered.
Beatrice's brother has no idea who would want to do this to his sister.
The distance had made it hard to keep in touch. He didn't know anything about who Beatrice was living with, who her friends were, nothing.
Detectives are eager to speak with Beatrice's ex-boyfriend, Vinicio Valverde, about the mysterious musician she supposedly ran off with prior to her disappearance.
Now, we may have a suspect. Is that what led to her death?
But then, detectives get a promising break in the case.
Come in. Detective Jones, Yonkers PD.
Yonkers is a suburb of North Manhattan, about 40 minutes southeast of Spring Valley.
I heard about the case you were working on, and it sounded extremely familiar.
He said they had someone in their jurisdiction that committed almost the same similar type of sadistic homicide.
Check it out.
The Yonkers detective explains that in August of 1990, a woman named Rosie Vasquez was brutally murdered in their jurisdiction.
Yonkers police said that they had arrested and tried a gentleman named Bradford Wise for mutilating his girlfriend Rosie's body almost in a similar fashion to what happened to Beatrice.
Rosie was a small, petite Hispanic girl who was then post-mortem terribly mutilated. It fit all the same pattern of Beatrice's murder.
However, when it went to trial, the jury found Bradford not guilty. He was acquitted of all charges and walked out a free man.
We were sure it was him based on the circumstantial evidence, but we didn't have enough physical evidence to convince the jury.
After he was acquitted of the crime, he still calls the police and taunts them with details about where they can find different parts of Rosie's body.
It's been absolutely maddening.
The police can't do anything about it because double jeopardy, meaning he can't be re-arrested and retried for a crime he was already arrested and tried and acquitted of.
But Yonkers police are convinced if Bradford got away with murder once, he could have tried to do it again.
If it quacks like a duck, it must be a duck. So Bradford became the #1 suspect.
It started to really sound like we had a serial killer on the loose.
Detectives in Spring Valley, New York, investigating the brutal murder of 20-year-old Beatrice Alvarez, have just received a visit from Yonkers police.
Yonkers detectives say they handled a case similar a few years earlier, and the alleged killer, Bradford Wise, was never incarcerated for the crime.
It started to really sound like we had a serial killer on the loose.
Thanks for passing this along, Detective.
Absolutely.
Investigators know that if there really is a serial killer at large in their community, they need to act fast.
I've got my guys searching for him as we speak. We'll be in touch.
They start trying to find Bradford to talk to him.
But the next day, their fervor comes to a screeching halt.
Anderson. Oh, hey, Detective Jones. Any sign of Bradford?
Bradford had recently been arrested on arson charges in a neighboring community. He'd been in jail at Westchester County, awaiting trial since late May.
Since police believe Beatrice was killed in early June, it would have been impossible for Bradford to commit the crime.
I'm so sorry to get your hopes up.
It's okay. We appreciate your help.
Just let me know if there's anything else that I can do.
Thanks, Jones.
That deconstructed the whole idea that they had their guy.
It wasn't Bradford.
Damn.
With their strongest lead now a dead end, detectives shift their focus to their victim's most recent ex-boyfriend, Vinicio Valverde.
Hi, are you Mr. Valverde?
Yes.
So the detectives asked Mr. Valverde if they could speak with him about Beatrice Alvarez.
At the mention of Beatrice's name, Vinicio immediately got emotional.
Yes, come in. I still can't believe she's gone.
Vinicio invites the police into his apartment.
And something inside immediately catches the attention of detectives.
What caught my eye right away was this makeshift shrine, or whatever we want to call it.
It had upside down prayer cards. It had pictures of women, some with pins in them. And it also had what appeared to be a pentagram on the bottom.
And in that shrine was a photo of Beatrice Alvarez.
It really caught my eye, but Mr. Valverde, he didn't seem too nervous about it.
What's that?
Oh, it's supposed to give you good luck.
He said it was some spiritualism that he hoped would bring her back to him since she had left, and that the shrine was devoted to Beatrice's return.
Even though she was deceased, he was hoping she would return to him in spirit.
It's our understanding that Beatrice left you for a musician shortly before she was murdered. Is that correct?
Yes. It broke my heart.
He's not able to provide any other defining characteristics about the musician or where they may have gone.
I asked him, how did he meet Beatrice? And it was through a friend that he knew by the name of Felipe, who worked in the city.
Beatrice had been dating Felipe. They were living together.
When Beatrice and I met, it was like boom, fireworks.
He said he never intended to steal his friend's girl, but they had a connection and neither one of them could resist.
But apparently he treated her bad.
Vinicio says Beatrice opened up to him about her relationship with Felipe, and it raised cause for alarm.
He said Felipe was abusing Beatrice and kept her locked up in a room.
He was keeping her like a prisoner.
Spring Valley detectives are speaking with Vinicio Valverde about the murder of his ex-girlfriend, 20-year-old aspiring artist, Beatrice Alvarez. According to Vinicio, Beatrice had a tumultuous relationship with her other ex, Felipe Rivera.
He would hit her. He would lock her up.
How do you know this?
She told me.
Beatrice had told him that he was keeping her like a prisoner. He was trying to poison her. He was abusive, and she couldn't get away fast enough.
Vinicio says he knew he needed to step in to save Beatrice.
He was able to convince her that if she left Felipe and left with him, that he can give her a better life. She was so excited to start this new life that she actually goes back to the shop, breaks up with her boyfriend, and literally packs up what she has, all her life savings and stuff, and goes with Vinicio and ends up moving in with him in Spring Valley.
But apparently I couldn't make her happy.
Beatrice told him she was going to leave him and left with a musician who lived in Manhattan.
Just like that, Beatrice was gone. Vinicio said he hadn't seen her since.
But despite Beatrice leaving with the mysterious musician, Vinicio believes someone else is responsible for what happened to her.
You know, I think Felipe did this.
Vinicio started crying, very, very tearful, and had immediately pinned her murder on her former lover, Felipe.
Felipe Rivera did this.
He's heartbroken. He's upset. He was assuming that she went back to Felipe and he started his abuse again and possibly took it too far.
There's no telling what he's capable of.
Detectives fear Vinicio might be right.
Police now have to interview Felipe. If even half of what Vinicio was saying is true, maybe he is the real suspect.
We locate him in the city, and we have a conversation with him and ask him if he would come back with us to Spring Valley. And he was more than willing to.
I just can't believe that she's gone. Even though things did not work out between us, I'll always have love for that girl.
Basically, he tells us he was in love with Beatrice, that was the love of his life, and that his friend, who was supposed to just go out on a lunch date with her, Mr. Valverde, ends up taking his girlfriend.
Is it true that you were controlling of Beatrice when you were together? Abusive?
What? Never.
When they tell Felipe all the horrible things his friend Vinicio has said about him, he kind of loses it a little.
I mean, if anything, Vinicio was the abusive one. She told me so.
Felipe's like, wait a minute. She told me that Vinicio was the one who is the abusive one. And so now you got, he said.
She could not stand him. I mean, he was crazy. She wanted my help to get her out.
Basically, she's now asking Felipe for money and stuff, and she wants to go back.
I feel guilty for even introducing her to him in the first place. I mean, he's shown me his true colors before.
This is where it takes a really bizarre turn.
Felipe told us that he knew for a fact that Valverde practiced some kind of black magic, and that he believes that he can read minds and that he can control people.
It's a stunning claim, but is his story true?
As Felipe is telling us about this black magic, I'm really still not sold on it. And then Felipe is telling me how he was trying to give Vinicio a job in his shop.
This was a few months before Vinicio and Beatrice met.
Vinicio Valverde was trying to offer his services of being what you would, I guess, call a mind reader, a psychic, someone that can heal people.
Felipe thought Vinicio's services would be a great addition to his shop, but shortly after being hired, the situation took a chilling turn.
This looks good.
Something's not right.
What do you mean?
I guess he felt that the energy in the store needed to be shifted.
A sacrifice must be made.
And so he had a dove with him, and he wanted to sacrifice the dove in the store to purify it.
Wait, Vinicio, this is too much.
Fine. You just don't understand.
Mr. Valverde instead took out a syringe and put it into the dove, drew out some blood, and then put a drop of the blood from the dove in each of his eyes.
Vinicio thought he had power through black magic, power over women, power to control situations. And this is how he used these sacrificing techniques and other rituals.
Was Beatrice Alvarez just another one of Vinicio's sacrificial lambs?
It's beyond sociopathy. It's beyond psychopathology.
Homicide detectives in Spring Valley, New York, have just learned that Vinicio Valverde was exhibiting some chilling behavior before his ex-girlfriend, 20-year-old Beatrice Alvarez, was killed and dismembered.
Vinicio was known to practice black magic and did show some violent tendencies.
Beatrice's other ex, Felipe Rivera, says he witnessed it firsthand after hiring Vinicio to work in his shop.
I'm open to many different spiritual practices, but that was too much, even for me.
Felipe was like, I can't be having this in my shop.
The tapes of service Vinicio was providing were just way too extreme, so Felipe stopped having him work there.
I mean, we remained friends afterwards. I just thought he was a good guy at heart who had gotten too deep into black magic. But now I believe I was wrong.
And when detectives dig deeper into Vinicio Valverde's background, they discover even more disconcerting information.
Vinicio stole a book on demonology from the New York Library. He was trying to do these evil spells on his ex-wife.
Right there, that threw up a flag right away, because now that took my mind back to this memorial that's in Mr. Valverde's apartment.
In that shrine back in his apartment, there was a picture of a woman with pins stuck in it, and that was his ex-wife.
They really started looking into this stuff, realizing that, wait a minute, this is not a call to action for a loved one to come home. This shrine was to take control of someone's spirit.
But are Vinicio's spiritual practices really the signs of a deranged killer?
The detectives did their research and learned that whenever someone who practices black magic kills somebody, they keep a trophy of the person to keep their spirit under control in the afterlife.
They must take a body part and keep it close to them. And as long as they have that body part, the soul cannot come back to haunt them or hurt them.
So they felt like if Vinicio really did this, he may have some parts of Beatrice in his home, most likely her hands, since they know that they were missing from her body.
On July 14th, Spring Valley police execute a search warrant at Vinicio's apartment, and inside the bedroom, they make an alarming discovery.
To my shock, there was blood everywhere.
There was blood splatter all over the walls. There was blood on the floor.
As soon as I flipped the mattress over at the head part, you could see a big red stain that appeared to be blood.
Obviously, things are taking a different turn now after the find of this blood.
But that's not all they find.
I recall going into one of the dresser drawers, and I found female fingernails and human teeth.
And they find a hammer. And what they remember from the ME's report was that Beatrice's body was hit, blunt force trauma to the head.
There was a saw and a large knife, so you could see that these were probably the murder weapons.
Investigators also locate something near and dear to Beatrice, her sketchbook.
So I had already learned that Beatrice did not go anywhere without her sketchbook. That was her world.
She absolutely would not have left it behind. So why was it there?
But one crucial piece of evidence is still missing: Beatrice's severed hands.
I'm now convinced that the hands are somewhere in there. But it's a small room, and I turned that room upside down. I couldn't find it. So my next thing was I reached out to an agency that had cadaver dogs. The dog kept hitting on this small closet, and I went in the closet. I took all the clothes out of the closet, emptied the closet out.
And they're looking and they're looking. dogs know, and the handler knows this dog is sensing something, but they just don't see anything.
But then the dog starts to get on his hind leg and starts pointing up. And so the police are looking up.
The handler looked up inside the closet and he saw what appeared to be a false ceiling.
I see the handler reach up and he pulls down this fake and...
Down dropped a hand, a mummified hand.
Spring Valley investigators have just made a series of gruesome discoveries inside the bedroom of 32-year-old Vinicio Valverde.
Police believe that Vinicio killed his ex-girlfriend, Beatrice Alvarez. They found blood spatter and other human remains inside of his apartment.
But the most shocking evidence of all is located in the bedroom closet.
I see the handler reach up and he pulls down this fake and...
Down dropped a hand, a mummified hand.
I hear him yell, he goes, "I found what you're looking for." The only problem was it was mummified.
Since the hand is mummified, obtaining the forensic evidence to officially link it to Beatrice Alvarez will be especially challenging.
They needed to rush it to the medical examiner and see what he could do.
No matter how hard or where I checked, I could not find the other hand.
Fortunately, the medical examiner has a plan to rejuvenate the fingerprints from the hand found in Vinicio's closet.
He had perfected a method to rehydrate mummified hands. And so, given his technique that he had developed, we were able to rehydrate the hand.
They get a fingerprint impression and they send off the prints for testing.
And finally, we got that break where it came back that that hand did belong to Beatrice Alvarez.
For investigators, this proves without a doubt Vinicio is their man. Now all they need is a confession.
They take him into custody and bring him to the police headquarters.
We found some very interesting things at your place, Vinicio.
Once they tell him the hand was in your apartment, it matches Beatrice. Does he break down at this point? Absolutely not. He is not admitting to anything.
Well, I didn't kill her.
He was calm, he was cool, he was collected, he was a killer.
You guys must have planted it.
So as a last-ditch effort, he now tries to blame the police for planting the hand in his closet, which is absurd.
Someone is framing me. I swear.
At this point, detectives are done listening to Vinicio's excuses.
He never really owned up to it, but based on the overwhelming evidence, we were convinced already that we had enough.
Vinicio Valverde is charged with second-degree murder for the killing of Beatrice Alvarez.
He was not charged with murder in the first degree because you need more mitigating factors.
First-degree murder is very difficult to prove because you have to have the perfect set of circumstances to prove first-degree murder. In this instance, the cops did not have witnesses. The body wasn't found until way after the fact.
And Vinicio definitely isn't going down easy.
While he was pending trial, there was a moment where he tried to kill himself with a bedsheet.
He tries to end his life so he doesn't have to face his punishment.
Thank God the corrections officers were on duty and they caught it right away and they prevented him from taking his own life.
After his failed suicide attempt, Vinicio is strictly monitored until his trial begins in July 1999.
This is a person who was aloof, who really didn't have too many social connections, but heavily relied on connecting with the spiritual world.
And as the prosecution presents their case, they explain how Vinicio's connection to the spiritual world intersected with a dangerous obsession that led to murder.
It was my view of the evidence that we had that this was what you would kind of call a crime of passion.
The theory of this is that Mr. Valverde met this gorgeous young lady, instantly fell in love with her. He was very jealous of her, very controlling of her.
And his involvement with black magic was starting to make her feel really uncomfortable.
Prosecutors say that eventually, Beatrice had enough.
Where do you think you're going?
I can't stay here anymore, Vinicio.
You lost your mind?
Let go of me. You're not who I thought you were.
Beatrice was planning to exit the relationship.
And that was the ultimate slap in the face for a person like this. It was an insult to his masculinity, to his alleged powers of black magic, and he couldn't let that go.
It was my argument to the jury that if he couldn't have her, then nobody would.
So he carried out his most sadistic ritual yet.
First, her skull was bashed.
Show you who I really am.
And then, after she was killed, he proceeded to humiliate and dismember the corpse.
He found a way to remove her from this physical world in efforts to connect with her in the spiritual world so that she would never leave him.
After that, Vinicio put her body in plastic bags and took it to a secluded area to burn.
But when the body didn't burn completely like he had hoped, he decided to take what was left and throw it in a local creek.
For a while, Vinicio thought he got away with murder, but then the storm hit.
He didn't expect that weeks later it would flood so bad to push her body downstream, where she was eventually discovered.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
After a week-long trial, it takes jurors only 5 hours to return with a verdict.
It didn't take long for the jury to come back with a verdict of guilty. And Vinicio was convicted of second-degree homicide.
Mr. Valverde was sentenced to the maximum under the law of 25 years to life. He is currently serving that sentence. At the trial, there were some family members that did attend on behalf of Beatrice, so it was really satisfying that we were able to bring the family members of Beatrice Alvarez some sense of justice, given the viciousness of this crime.
He was denied parole in May of 2023.
With her killer now behind bars, Beatrice's memory lives on in those who knew and loved her.
We lost a major, I want to say an angel, a true American dream. You're talking about somebody that came from Cuba, came here with nothing but a dream. Just imagine what this young lady could have been today.